Good morning. This is Mike Houston with your Sunday morning weather hazard briefing for southeast Idaho. Looking at the key points during this forecast period, we are going to see light to moderate snowfall overspreading the central and northeast mountains today, with the potential impacts to some of the mountain passes. That snowfall will be spreading further south into the Snake Plain and eastern mountains late tonight and Monday, with potential impacts for the morning commute. And then we should see things turning drier Wednesday and Thursday. Looking at our satellite imagery this morning, we have a fairly flat high-pressure ridge here across the northwest states, with moisture overspreading the ridge through Washington and Oregon and into the Idaho panhandle. That area of precipitation will spread further south into the central mountains and northeast highlands through today, where we'll see light to moderate snowfall, particularly above 7,500 feet. May impact some of the mountain passes later this afternoon. Looking at our weather risk outlook matrix of doom, we are indicating that we may see minor to moderate impacts here across the central and northeast mountains today, and then that activity spreading into the Snake Plain and eastern highlands tomorrow. Probably most concerned about the Snake Plain for tomorrow. We'll get into that here in a second. But as we get out past midweek, things dry out across the region. Looking at wind gusts this morning, we will see some fairly decent gap winds coming out of the south here across the I-86 corridor this morning. Things should begin to taper off this afternoon. But however, in the central mountains across some of these ridge tops here, upper elevations, we'll see some pretty breezy winds throughout the day today. Looking at high temperatures, mostly freezing throughout a good portion of the Snake River Plain and getting up to about 40 degrees down here in Burley. If you get up into the central mountains, remaining generally in the upper 20s to mid-30s, with slightly cooler temperatures here across the eastern highlands, generally in the low to mid-30s. I won't show any more high temperature forecasts throughout the rest of the week. Temperatures at least look like they remain fairly steady throughout through midweek. Looking at the snowfall amounts 24-hour snowfall amounts ending midnight tonight, you can see the valley locations seem to fare pretty well with less than an inch of accumulation anticipated. You get up into the mountains here, particularly above 7,500 feet, where you see the yellows and orange colors here. We would be bumping into our lower end of our advisory criteria across the region. I do only expect some possible impacts here, maybe going over Targhee and Reynolds Pass and Pine Creek Pass a little later this evening, where we might see upwards of 4 inches of snowfall in those general pass areas. But the rest of these passes here in the central mountains seem to fare pretty well, and thus we have not issued any advisories for the forecast area. Just be mindful that if you get above 7,500 feet in some particular place here in the central mountains or eastern highlands, you could run into some impactful snowfall. Advancing to the 24-hour snowfall amount ending on Monday night, here we see that precipitation now spreading a little further south, between Stanley and Fairfield, and over it to Blackfoot, Idaho Falls, and into the Caribou Highlands. We see some fairly decent snowfall amounts here in the Caribou Highlands, running upwards of 4 to 6 inches, so bumping into the lower end of our advisory criteria once again. And you can see that out here on the I-15 corridor from Blackfoot to Idaho Falls, we could see anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of snowfall. We did have one particular model that was quite aggressive with the potential snowfall in here, and we may be waiting to see if some of the other models can consolidate around that forecast. If they do, we may be issuing a winter weather advisory for this region with the daytime forecast today. Okay, in summary, we're expecting light to moderate snowfall to overspread the central and northeast mountains today, with potential impacts to the mountain passes. That snowfall will be drifting further south into the Snake River Plain and eastern mountains by Monday morning, with potential impacts for the morning commute, particularly between Blackfoot and Idaho Falls, so stay tuned on that. And then as we get into mid and the latter part of the week, we'll see drier conditions spreading into the region. That's all I had for you this morning. If you had any comments or questions, please reach out to us at one of these avenues here listed on the screen. Thank you.